Ready?
Okay, being 6:01, we'll bring this Hermosa Town Board Tuesday, January 3rd, 2023, regular meeting to order. Roll call, Hendrickson.
Here.
Holsworth here. Kramer.
Here.
Schumacher.
Here.
Appreciate that. Appreciate Monica being here tonight. Finance Officer, Mitch, Attorney. Appreciate the audience being here, Mr. Ferguson. With that being said, let's please all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
thank you all.
You did good.
You're never gonna.
With that being said, review of the current agenda. Is there any changes from Monica or any of the board members? Not, motion to approve is read.
I'll make that motion.
Kramer makes the motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Schumacher. Any further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Next item 3, approval of December 20th, 2022 regular meeting minutes. If any discussion, if not, motion to approve.
I'll abstain, wasn't there?
Hendrickson makes the motion. Do I have a second?
No, she abstained there. I
She
said I made the
abstained.
motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I would abstain.
She's abstaining.
I'll make the motion.
Kramer makes the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Schumacher. Further discussion? There being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Then we have one abstention. That being said, we'll move on to claims, or excuse me, conflict of interest declaration. Is there any conflict of interest declarations from any of the board members?
I do not believe I had any.
Thank you. Item 5 is claims. Review of the payroll and claims. The only one that one monthly agreement for Mr. Ferguson, is that for Mr. Urban on the 14678? From the water meter reading?
No, I didn't. I couldn't. So with the new program, I cannot put any claims until I run all my annual reports. So these are just the claims before the January 1st.
Oh, okay.
I'll include the Irvin's
On the next
on the next
claims
claims list. Yes.
Okay. I didn't know if we, with the last meeting, if we wanted that in on this last year's closeout on that because of the meter reading and where we were at for your book purposes, or if it matters.
It's not really a large amount, so it shouldn't.
So it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
If it's kind of impossible to do with the new system, you know, I don't know how you.
Well, and it's okay for the accounting end of it. That was my only concern,
Yeah,
is you
it's
try to pay all
only a
your
little over
bills.
$100, so
Right,
not even that. I think.
okay.
Cool, fine.
Okay.
Any further questions? If being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Did we have a motion?
No.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
I didn't know names.
Are you ready?
No.
I'll make that motion.
Kramer did,
Okay.
seconded by
I'll second it. No, there was no motion.
Schumacher.
Right.
Now, with the discussion being done, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. I'm glad you girls are watching out for me.
Yeah, just moving along.
Item number 6, we have law enforcement abatement complaints. Once again, we have no law enforcement representation tonight, and no report, no logs, no anything. anything, so we'll just move ahead unless anybody has.
I just wanna know if the people have seen law enforcement around, since the last meeting? Seen any, heard any?
I think I have.
You have seen?
I've seen them drive up and down Main Street at least once.
Okay, good,
And I've seen them on my street at least once.
good. Anybody else?
A month's
And
time?
last month, I would say, I saw them once on my street, once on Main Street. Maybe more than once on Main Street, but definitely once.
Yes, sir.
In the last couple of weeks, I've seen a couple of times as well, passing through town, or making a loop and then leaving. So, I mean, they've been here, how long, I can't say, but I have seen.
Okay, anything further?
Thank you.
Under legal, anything from Mitch? The only thing we had was that we had that letter of,
Yeah, I haven't visited with Leah yet.
pardon?
I haven't talked to Leah yet, I called her, but I was gonna wait till after the holidays are over to jump into
Did you get the letters I sent?
that.
Right, as far as the letter goes on, the claims associates, you received that also, Mitch?
So
The-
what?
The letter from claims associates, the disposition notice,
Nope.
that had been released, which is a good thing.
Oh, good, okay.
Yeah, so everybody has a copy of that in their file on that part of it, but appreciate that. And other than that, there is one other item, but I'd like to discuss that in executive session pertaining to DA&R and letters, so. So we'll do that at the end if it's, other than that, that's it. Nothing further, we'll move into engineer. We have the water rehab project, WRT. There was the letter from ACES on that. The communication back and forth on the email that they had received the water samples on the 23rd. They were appreciative of that, but between Christmas and New Year's, they were shut down. So they're hoping that they will probably in the next few weeks have that tested, come back through with it. From what he says, Ron Dollar is the gentleman's name from Water Remediation Technology. So he'll keep us posted on that, and that's an appreciated situation on that. So that's where we're at on that part of it. Sidewalk, of course, is pending. Sewer project, lagoon design and expansions in process. There was the punch list for Mr. Ferguson that they were working through. I believe you got the groundwater level taken care of. The influent from the manhole, was that taken care of?
No, I'm taking that in tomorrow.
The televising data you sent from PACE,
I did.
updates to UV treatment. Mr. Irving was working on that part of it. So we're just basically up to that last one from where we're at on the influent. And then she'll move farther forward on that. And of course then work towards a design, come back to us again for information on that. And then work through that portion of it.
Can I, you did do the ground sample, freezing sample, and where was that at?
You're talking about the profile hole?
Uh-huh,
Yes.
and what was the depth?
10 foot.
It was good news.
It's very good news. How, one area or a couple areas, or
Just where the new cell's going.
just where there's some? Okay, very good, thank you.
Water facilities plans, resolution review. The DNR award, of course, we're going through, making sure where we're at on the WRT before we release the monies back to DNR on that portion of it. Rules email backed it up and reaffirmed that portion of it, so. Black Hills Council of Local Governments on letter E also is associated with that same circumstance, so we're in that mode. Item F is the Town of Hermosa Water and Sewer Extension Project. We'll have more discussion on that in executive session. Hermosa Hills Drainage, and acceptance of Maria and Walter Street. We've never heard back on our letter, what we sent to them last time, so we'll wait. Yes.
He did call me today. He just said he did not receive the mail yet because he's not in South Dakota now. So I just emailed it to him and he'll look through it.
Good. So we'll further wait on that portion of it. The Whitney Street drainage is also tied into that same process of where we have the South Dakota Area Rural Water Report, pending technician assistance, camera drainage, and so on. That actually was running pretty good last week now, and so I don't know if it was snow melt off or what the circumstance was, but here we were pretty confident in it the week before, and then it
It was
just
dry 2 weeks before that.
correct, and now it's turned where it's back running again. So
How much?
pretty good. That's like it was, about identical to what it was. It's just a steady, slow stream coming out of it again now. So we'll have to watch that. Yes.
I just need to go back to the Hermosa Hills drainage, the Walter Street. He asked specifically if that's going to be approved or he needs any testing done on that as it was on Mary Street.
They kind of go hand in hand, the Walter Street and Murray Street. The Walter Street also, I don't think we ever core tested that. All we core tested was Murray Street.
Yes, that's why he was kind of asking if we'll request him to do the test on the
I
Walter
think
Street
you
as
should
well.
test Walter also. We were in acceptance of the culverts, we were in acceptance of what he had done on everything else on that portion of it, so. Yes, sir, Mr. Ferguson.
I am kind of questioning that depth of the gravel on that street. What was agreed on, 10?
Correct.
You would have to put a minimum of 16 inches of gravel on there to get 10 inches compacted.
Well, right now, all the core tests show are 4 inches and some of the shoulder depth with the compaction now. 6 inches is the deepest portion that we found in our core test after they did 4 different areas. So, and our finished product was 10 inches with the shale gumbo problems that we had down through that area, that we felt they were adjustable and that it was holding up, that maybe we would reconsider that. But at present, that's where we were at in the condition of the plat and the approval of the plat and the construction, along with the sidewalk on one side is what we approved that be put in. We're willing to waive that part of it just because of the ditch line. We don't feel you could get a sidewalk in there. And so then we're all conditions of the plat.
All those manhole rings will have to be raised. I don't think there's a street in town that's got 8 inches of gravel on it. I've dug in every one of them. I mean, it's an overkill in my opinion, but I guess that's...
Yeah, I think our biggest thing is, yes.
As I recall, that had a lot to do with, because of where it's at,
Right.
and the drainage issues down there, that it would be necessary to have a little bit better road. And it was also the town's feeling that with not being able to afford and not forcing the issue of pavement, that the roads had to be up to a little bit better standard, knowing that we couldn't do that, and that the maintaining of it has become so expensive that we wanted the base of it to be better. That's what I remember of it. Am I about right there?
Right.
Bob, were you in on a part of that?
Yes. That's correct.
So, not that we can't change it, but there's a big difference between 10 and 4. And in my opinion, I wouldn't vote to accept them as is at 4-inch depth. I might at an 8-inch, but not at the 4-inch.
Well, when we went through it, looked at that center too, the day we were down and walked it, and said, you know, if you built the crown a little bit more and then feathered it out with the manholes as they are, you could actually gain a couple inches just coming from a crown on existence of manholes now and taking it to the shoulder. And, you know, if they were willing to do something like that, I think then acceptance would probably happen. And that's why we need them to come in and talk about it. To go to 10 inches, like you say, there's three manholes that would have to be raised. And they should have taken that into consideration when they designed the development, knowing that that's where they were at. And we actually laid it out where we wanted 4 inches right off the bat on that road to follow with a follow-up of another 4 inches, 2 to 4 after that, to be able to have a satisfactory in and out for residents as well as development contractors, everybody on that, and at the very end, a 2-inch final.
Finish.
So that's the way it was laid out from day one.
Well, those specs were done long before Poulos came to town. I mean, I'm just saying, you can only milk that so much.
Well, that plat was laid out though from the beginning.
Right from the beginning, yeah. So. I
That's
don't
the
know.
hard part.
I don't know.
You know, and once we take them over,
We're done. And it's all ours.
Poulos took over the existing contract, right,
he's working with Preston.
with Preston, so again, he's still following the existing contract and
Correct.
existing specs
Correct.
and
Existing plat,
plat, yes.
correct.
And what the agreement was as far as the finished product on those roads. Again, we allowed them a minimum amount due to during construction so that there wasn't any big, you know, corrections needed afterwards.
Correct.
And again, raising the manholes is part of their responsibility once they get to a finished level, as was the sidewalk. Because again, the sidewalk was one of the big things that we wanted so that the residences down there weren't walking in the road. And that just benefits the residents, and that's who's down there now, so.
Right.
That was all looking forward, and that was all in the agreement.
Yep.
One of the other things that comes into play there, the more you raise that road, the more you gotta raise the driveways.
Right.
And she was a little concerned about some of the culverts the way it was.
No, we looked at that part of it too that day we walked that. And that if you go too high, that's why we said, I feel, in my opinion that day, if we raised 2 more inches and tapered from that center down, that would be adequate, that would be okay, because it has held up well. And I don't feel we've had the issues. There's also the mag water that needs to be applied that hasn't. At that time, we approved soybean oil, and that's what we asked to be put on it, was soybean oil. Well, we haven't done that application in several years, so, but we would allow mag water to be put on there. He did do Walter, paid for that, but we've never done Marie. Yes, sir.
The addition in the crown of the road isn't affecting the ditch line, is it?
It won't now. If
Okay.
he adds that couple inches, they came right down through and kind of centered it. And the way it is, there's enough room where it just falls off then from there. And they tried to just use the Bobcat to just kind of smooth it, level it, where if they feathered that back up and came from the edges in, it would feather into the ditch lines nicely and not be in effect and look good.
But feathering into the ditch line, does that affect your flow capacity in that ditch?
Not at present, not the way it's laid out. That's why we walked it, because of the driveways. Mr. Ferguson, exactly, that was our big thing when the water levels come down a couple times this summer and affected some by bills and that down through there and washed. If we go too high, it'll actually push that water into their garages, and we don't want that occurrence to happen. So
So you're wanting it to overflow the driveways?
well,
Is what you're wanting it to do?
they're going down through and trying to correct them with some overburden on them, you know, like a couple of them built little retainer walls. Some of them have taken ballast rock, put down there so it doesn't erode, and try to handle it the best they can with the culverts. Culverts are where they're at. In a heavy occurrence of, let's say, a 2-inch rain in an hour, you're not gonna stop it, because you do have campground effects still coming into it. You got your easements coming down, and then the flow coming down. That's why the development of the next phase was so crucial,
Yep.
to not impact that area and actually create a worse problem. So,
That's why we crossed to the south side and brought all that extra
correct,
flow down.
and added the culvert down in Walter to help take a load off of that also. So I think, you know, it's a matter where we need to just look at it. We put the letter out there that the sidewalks were approved for both sides. We'd have to look at that because of the way the ditch lines also are and where the water shutoffs are, that whether we'd be able to get a 4-foot sidewalk in there, lot side, and come down through that. You know, that's the only part. So there may be a concession where a person come in and say, okay, let's add the gravel of a couple inches onto it, scale that crown down, bring it in, feather it out. You may not be at a full 2 inches on some of the edges. You know, there was some of the shoulders that were at 6 inches. So their levels were different in certain areas on the way they did the core test.
Okay, so if you put the sidewalks on the lot side of the ditch, correct?
Correct.
And is it at a height that's gonna restrict the water flowing up into that lot? Or is it gonna be at a level that would,
There's so
it
much
would flow over?
that track coming down, it would actually have to be served where it'd be at the level of the lot now. You wouldn't be able to expand it up on top. Otherwise, you would create problems from number one, drainage coming from the house out to the ditch. You don't want to do that. You know, you don't want to create a dam.
Yeah.
So you would have to flush it at ground grade level the way it is now. So, and the other hard part's getting an ADA. You know, that's a difficult situation with coming through there too.
ADA is
If you're,
5 foot?
no, ADA as far as approaches and levels and grade on it, you know? You know, if we have to do like we did Fifth Street, it was almost like we looked at them like they were not all with it when they laid that out, you know? We all looked at that, but that is their scale of ADA, is the irregularity of that. In case somebody's coming down it with a wheelchair, their idea is it slows them down.
Well, you come down and you hit a flat spot.
Yeah.
You come down and you hit a flat spot.
Zigzag, correct, the zigzag, the way they have it, correct,
Well, the elevation is zigzagged also.
Yeah, so,
correct,
And they can only have so much percentage of drop
correct,
and so long a distance, so they had to pour a flat spot
right,
in there, and it looks weird as,
yep.
but
Yeah. So there's more work that needs to be looked at when they're back on. We went off what the plat agreement was, and that's what we scaled and said, that's what they need to follow, and sent back to them. Now it's time to go back out in the field, now we've got them facts, because they couldn't remember the facts of what we approved either, and actually look at the best solution. What we can add for gravel to where we need to be at. It's harsh is what we say to make them raise rings on them manholes and stuff. You're actually gonna create more softness in that road by doing that and create more problems. So the road is held up well at this point. If they worked on the manholes a little earlier, a little faster, probably would have took a few more temperaments off, and they finally did do a lot of that, and it was nicer. But I think in all circumstance, we just need a good field day down there with them again. Come to a good solution and come back to the board and remedy it.
Well, one of the problems you're gonna run into with 10 inches, if you're gonna have a crown, which there is crown in it now, because I physically took the level and laid on it, there is crown on it. But if you're putting 10 inches there, you know, then you're gonna have 6 inches on the very edges. I mean, how can you maintain 10
Right.
and slope, you know, I mean, it's gonna be less on the shoulders because otherwise it'd be 10 inches straight across.
Right.
I mean,
And that's what's happening now. Some spots 6, and then you're coming out to 4. So, yes, sir.
I just wanna say that to me, the main problem isn't at the depth of it, it's the quality of the top coat. Quality of it's mostly sand, and you say it's held up, well, every time it starts to get a pothole, Poulos fix it. So, I mean, he's on that, he's watching him so that he doesn't get dinged on the potholes.
Right.
But I think the way it is now, they'll come back quick once he's off the site. I think it needs better gravel, better quality gravel, and every time you think it's getting better, he scrapes it and it's back to sand again.
Yeah, it's just more fines in it. He got it from 2 different locations. He had some of it that came from Pete Lean, and then they tried some of it from Kroll. And so that was the differences in the gravel. It's both basically good gravel, it's just they mixed a little more fines in some of it, and that came down, and he wasn't happy with that either. There was less rock, so yes, ma'am.
So, how can we accept the road when there's additional developments going on behind it, possibly whatever it was, 100 homes, I don't care if it's 50 homes. But if that's the only road that's going into the new development, all the truck traffic from that is going to do damage on that road. Why would we want to accept it?
Yeah, that's.
There's an
We're having a
alternative
mess.
to that. They're also considering coming off Tenaya and
Well,
coming through and
that's
putting-
fine if they do that, but
They have
until,
They have to come up with an alternative road. But if that's the other part of the work session we discussed that day out there, if they're gonna still use Marie Street as going through, then they're going to be held to the fire and we're not going to accept it. And maintenance will still be the responsibility of the developer and the contractor on that. And that was another question that needs to be asked, because they weren't sure. And that part of that question all got changed when they were trying to go through Custer County and bypass us and come into the approval stages, and so that all got stopped on that portion of it also with our extraterritorial agreement.
Who was doing this?
Poulos and
And
Mr.
he's been
Preston.
working with us how long, and he knows that he has to contact us.
Right,
I'd stick him to the sticks. I'd hold him to the fine right then.
well, and that's why we went, Custer County, of course, their staff is new. So they weren't aware, you know, as far as development, it isn't annexed property yet. So yes, they had their right to go and move dirt and do what they wanted to do. But when it was expressed, they gotta hook onto our infrastructure. They gotta hook onto our sewer, water, and come off of us, and that they are within that 1 mile jurisdiction.
Well,
So-
any permits that the county was issuing, that should have been a red flag when they didn't have our contact information.
Well, and we brought back conversation, please. They need to have a conversation with us before they give information out. So, yeah, we,
It's just a
Joan, you
circle
had a-
again.
Well, I'm sure that wasn't that long ago, we had a letter from the county, CC'd in a letter, saying that they had to come to Hermosa for their permitting. Now,
correct,
I don't care how new their staff is, they pull that development, see the letter,
right.
if they did any kind of research whatsoever, so I'm sorry, I don't buy it that, well, it only happened because their staff is, no, they didn't do their job. Polis is trying to pull a fast one, he knew, I told him at a meeting, and he had a copy of the letter both.
Yeah.
I'm with Bob.
Yeah, so the train was brought back onto the track. Yes, sir.
What's the timeline for the development behind Murray?
Not at this time aware, but they have engineered plans, they were looking at their infrastructure, and then there was plans that changed by Roy's Drive-In, and what we were trying to accomplish with Roy's getting a sewer line, and whether they would run infrastructure for a single row of homes, and negotiations on them homes down there, to try to see if they could buy land from Roy's. Long story short, that none of that materialized, so they would end up with a single row of homes. It'd be better for their infrastructure to do a sewer line that way, to come down to us that way and through their development. So that's kind of what changed it all, and,
Isn't there another development being planned for farther in, farther west?
pardon?
That's what
Isn't there
Sally
another?
was talking
Right, so
about now.
that's south of Murray, to the.
West.
The road that they wanna do next to the drive-in. But
That's
then-
another phase that's already
Okay.
annexed in.
So there's Marie, and then there's the no-name street, right? But then continuing on from Marie, it looks like they wanna continue on from Marie, and I thought I heard there was gonna be more houses back there to
Correct.
the west.
That's the one we're discussing.
Okay. And that, but that's not approved yet, or?
No.
No.
Okay.
They have
They
not
had to
brought
go
a
back
plat
to the
in.
drawing board. So that's why we have so many questions also.
Neither of those have been approved.
Correct,
The one south of Marie or west of Marie,
correct,
neither have been approved.
correct. Exactly right. They're both in the drawing board yet. Yes, sir.
When the town put their infrastructure in down there, it was to, Roy's responsibility to tie into it.
Correct.
And he has not yet done
No.
that. And that was DNR's request that he do it as soon as possible.
Correct.
So he's still waiting to figure out their design to make it cheaper on him. And
Yep, there's a letter out there on it, and so that's part of our discussion with Mitch tonight too on that portion of it, but, yes. And that was it, you know, right now, for him to come across to Marie, I think it was 400 foot from where he's at. Well, there's easement there, but that isn't a feasible to carry a service line that long. So we looked at then, he would have to carry that service line down to the main, do an extension off the main, if they don't do that next phase of development, and extend the main himself and then hook in that way. And then we gave him a cost estimate on that, rough, not holding any feet to the fire from the engineer, of $125,000. So then the negotiation came in from there then, of course, that if you were to contribute to the developers, and even if they're gonna do a single row of homes, it may be cheaper for you to do that than it would be to do an extension of the main and carry your service line from that aspect of it up, so.
was there a deadline in that letter to him to connect into our system?
30-day response,
30
then we had a 30-day response back. Now we've had another 30-day response back from his attorney, so now we're,
And this correspondence is all gone to DNAR,
no, not right now.
none?
And there's not a need to, till we have, number one, Poulis and the agreement of what they're gonna do in their next development for approval. And number two, for development through our engineer, of course, and approval. So that portion of that development and annexation has been approved through DANR and can be moved ahead with. The next, of course, can't because it's not been annexed in. But that's why we're all in that stage of trying to iron this part of it out too. It's just like, you know how it goes, you move
Yeah.
2 steps forward and 10 back.
But again, only if you allow them to.
Right, and we're not, we're just in that negotiation stage of trying to get there and keep it. So it's a relationship, not a legal battle.
Understand.
So that's where we're at, long and short of all of that with Walter and Marie. So thank you for bringing that back up. And so we'll, once Mr. Preston gets back, we'll have a, let's go down and hash this out and then come back to the board. Nothing can be done until the board approves it. And that we come to an agreement on that, as well as the engineer's opinion. So Whitney Street will begin to kind of follow through. We just had an overview of Roy's Drive-In, so I think we're all updated on that one now. Facility plan for the booster water meters, possibly to add to USDA. We will further talk with USDA. That's all kind of in a whole pattern until we actually get to where we can do the calling on the annexation. I know with the holidays, it kind of stalled us all, and you girls were gonna come up and try to dig numbers up and make them calls to the ones that had not responded yet. I don't believe we've gotten any more response other than what you originally had. And I think there was 18 left yet that we had to needed to contact and find out. Our latest, also then that will put us into a positioning of the annexation on where we're gonna be at on the ones on Fairgrounds Place that are contiguous that we will accept. We'll get that list to Mitch when we get to that level, as well as 79 if we get the mine, the Paw Patch, the church we know wants to. They're all contiguous now too. We can take them in individually, is what Mitch said too, even though they all don't want to come in. So we're gonna look at that and move forward progress on some of that, and that'll all be part of it. So if you ladies can find that time to call, would be very appreciated.
What do you got next week, Terry?
I don't know. What do you have?
I don't have much next week other than puppies.
So you ladies get together and
Maybe next week we can come up.
Yeah.
awesome. The rural development application, like I say, is all part of that fuse, so
Yeah.
once we learn that, we know what to do with the DA and our money, we know what to keep once we get the WRT back. It's one big web, so it's all kind of hinged in one there. Anything further from the board on engineer? If not, we'll move into planning and zoning. We appreciate Joan being here tonight. You have your P&Z minutes. We appreciate them and the review that you can have on them. The next item that we have is B, permit 2022-38 digging, grading 202 3rd Street, Mount Rushmore telephone, trenching cable. I guess, to me, I have questions on that portion of it. Oh, I'm sorry. One more item on DA&R, that we did get the extension for any of it, that any of you didn't know, for the lagoon process. We had till the 1st of January, of course, by our settlement agreement, to have a plan to them. We did submit an application to them in regards that we wanted to go to January 31st. That's why we're on a big push now to get design to them. They did state in this agreement that we do have to have construction going by June 1. They're still going to hold our feet to the fire on all the other penalties if we don't, and compliances, so we're hard and heavy on that part of the project. Okay, back to where we're at in P&Z. I really don't feel there was a permit needed for this digging grading because it was repair of an existing line on it. You know, I know with phone companies and anything else, it's appreciated that they come in. Any of them that are doing any of this work, and I apologize, I forgot your meeting too that night. I love attending them and I don't like missing them, but I know when Midco come in and they put a permit in for digging grading for the entire community. When they go to do their home drop services for any individuals that want it, they're going to then have that permission from the homeowner. They will go off of their main that's already been approved and come in. They'll all have to call the 811 number for locates before they can do anything. So we're going to be well aware of that they are. On this application, it's likewise where, like I say, the key statement is repairing a bad line that was damaged from before. They're replacing an existing line. And anybody else that goes to add Midco or change services from Mount Rushmore Telephone, it's the same as City of Rapid City. They're not required to come in for a digging grading permit on every application to add that cable line in to go across that homeowner's private property. They
Where
are
did you see
required
that?
to do their, pardon?
I might be a little blind here, but where did you see that it was only a repair?
It was on the paperwork,
Right.
the,
Application?
application. It said to fix to,
Location to be buried cable, see project map, Miller Construction, as specified by the town of Hermosa.
there was, do you have that?
It's right here.
It said on there to fix the repair. That's the one that I came up and I saw, Joan.
I never
Is that there
saw
was,
that.
is that there was one laying over there where Mitch was at, and it said on there to fix the repair.
I don't know. And that's fine. I mean, it's nice to have the information, but at that time, just didn't say that. And Jill didn't mention that it was a repair. But either way, I guess we would not have known it wasn't needed, simply because this lets us know that they're calling 811.
Yep. And I think it's great for them to come in and do the application. I think it's great that they're following the process. But I also feel
FYI more than a permit, yeah.
exactly. So to me, I don't feel that they needed to be held up. They could have went forward with the work and did the installation and got it taken care of. I don't, in my opinion, feel there's a motion needed for this, that approval is automatically granted and they need to move forward with the repair.
Well then, I guess if you're gonna make a motion, you should make a motion to refund their money.
Correct. On that portion of it too. I thank you for that input. So, do I have a motion
I'll
on
make that
that?
motion.
Kramer makes that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Hendrickson. Any further discussion? Yes, sir.
Are you gonna respond to them and explain why you're doing it? That it wasn't really needed this, but just
Correct.
like an FYI?
And I feel Trinity needs to know that, so, you know, and that's why we have this discussion tonight, so that Monica Ken respond to her and let her know application wasn't needed. We appreciate the FYI. Planning and zoning was here also, and had we known it was repair, maintenance, and brought that out to P and Z, it would have saved probably a lot of confusion.
And at the same time, at the end of the letter, please ask for any other FYIs concerning the same type of things, so
Yeah.
that we have it in the office. That we really do appreciate the FYIs.
Yep, for P and Z's purposes and ours. And Midco is gonna be the same way. You know, they're coming in, they're coming off our main drops, they're going to FYIs, and they said that in the beginning of their construction, so. I have a motion and a second, and in that, we wanted to definitely let her know that FYI is what was mentioned in comment, that in the future, this is what's the process and what we need to do, and appreciate them keeping us informed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Motion to remove item B.
I'll make that.
Hendrickson makes that motion. Do I have a second?
Sure.
By Kramer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Item 10 is Public Works Committee report. Street light, water, sewer department, trustee, town lighting.
I guess we talked about the street deal. I had a question on that. That's why I was talking about the 10 inches and that stuff.
Pardon?
That's why I was talking about the 10 inches and that stuff that was on streets. Street lights. We have 4 new ones in stock. The last time I talked to those guys, they were 2 weeks out, which would have been,
4 weeks ago.
not quite, but it's been pretty near that long. I expect them sometime this week or first of next for sure. So we've got 2 out here. We've got 2 extra lights because I think we've got 5 more of the old style lights yet, but we've got 4 in stock now. So once they redo these 2 here, we'll still have 2, but we need to maximize the time when they're here so we don't get charged for
Well,
every.
have you reassured them too that, hey, we need you down here for a day and you have 4, we won't wanna do 2 service calls? Have you touched base back with them again?
Yeah. Well, the procedure here is when I order the lights, they come in and Conrad picks them up, puts them in stock. Well, the last meeting, Chuck volunteered to go get the lights at DSG, so that throws a little wrench in the machinery because when they have the lights in stock, supposing we're not here when they want to come, they've been very good at giving me prior notice. But if they have the lights with them, then they have them.
Right.
So he should have never made that statement because
Right.
it's up to them to pick the lights up. But we haven't picked the other 2 up yet. They still can pick them up if they want to on their way down.
And you reminded them of that too?
Yeah.
And REA, as far as fixing our ones down in Ferguson and throughout town, I haven't seen the 5th Street one or the one down in yours.
There's 2 of them down in mine. There's one right on the corner of
Donna there?
Whitney and Ferguson, and there's one further down on Ferguson. And I talked to them actually yesterday, and they got a work order. Didn't say when they actually could get here, but there is a work order on.
And 5th also?
Yeah.
Okay. Further?
Water, there's the quarterly back tea is due, and I've already drawn that. That's going in with tomorrow with this other sample, and the back tea at the same time. We don't have any end of the year samples that have to be done other than that. Quarterly, that's due January 1. It's the last quarter, October, November, December, due in January, so I've already pulled that. And then I will pull that sample on the influent on the lagoon and take that with us also. That's it, I think, on that part. Sewer, the main blower motor quit on the pond doctor a few days ago, and Bob was not available to swim out and take it off. So we had to use the boat again and go out on the ice and take the motor off. It's in the back of my pickup. We're taking it back to Turboville. They're the ones who rebuilt that motor when Bernie and I refurbished the pond doctor, so it was flipping the breakers, so there's definitely a short. I did a little process of elimination. We unhooked the wire from the motor and reset the breakers, and we did not trip them. There was a slight chance that there could be a short in the water, but that was not the case. So we're taking that in tomorrow, and I'm also going to take one of the larger sewage pumps that are in storage down there and to get rebuilt. We've been threatening to do that for 2 years, but as long as I'm going up there, and we also will pick up, I don't know, 8 or 10 lids for the manholes. They're also in Belfouche. So it's going to be a multiple trip. And I think that's it.
Okay. I know Jill is working hard on putting together spreadsheets for you guys' data, and that's coming together well. I hope the department heads kind of keep in and check in and keep an eye on it. I know Monica's been instrumental in that with her and learning that side of it too, and seeing what we've got going. We appreciate that, and I think we're gaining steps to where our big thing with all these settlement agreements, it's going to put us in a lot better communication, a lot better record keeping for them. I know it's going to be more of a pain in the rear for you, but as long as that daily reporting is brought in, it's going to make it where the girls are doing a great job of taking care of that portion of it. So I really do appreciate all the effort, and Jill has worked very hard putting that stuff together, so I thank her for that. Some point we'll get together this month for the agreement for performance services for public works. There was a recommendation sent by ACES on some other indicators that came in that we may want to take under consideration. I don't know, did everybody get a copy of that one?
Yes, should have.
So, and did Mr. Ferguson get a copy of that too? We'll probably
I
want
put
to
it
give
in
him
his
one.
office. Good.
But there's some very helpful circumstances, things that we've already talked about on here. Just more steps, pages, situations for DA and R to put us in a better compliance rating, and also better for Mr. Ferguson. So that'll be an appreciated session when we do a work session with that one too. That annual technical conference that's coming up, I believe, were both of you gonna go, or just Mr.?
That's in Pier.
So you're not going?
Never have.
Okay.
And then that's the APC, yeah, technical one. That was, yep, the 10th through the 12th. So yeah, I didn't know either one of you were gonna try to attend that one or not.
Well, they haven't, as it says it's annual, but the problem that you run into, you have travel and lodging and that stuff, and being I'm an independent contractor, that was never agreed upon to be paid, so that's the same situation with Chuck.
We have in the past, years ago when you were able to go, it also fell at bad times for you, a lot of times where you couldn't make it. Not that we won't approve travel and cost on that for education. That's the one biggest thing we've always been in favor of is continued education. We've never, ever batted an eye on that part of it, so. And there is still, certifications coming up then that will be,
Well, there's some classes in February. It'll be in Rapid City. And then once those classes are completed, then there'll be certification classes after that. It may end up to be one in Spearfish or someplace in the surrounding community, Rapid Valley. That's where some of that takes place usually.
and then this South Dakota Area Rural Water membership meeting. That's basically a board of directors type situation then on that. It goes through every year on that portion of it. That one is, wasn't this in Spearfish, I believe? 48th.
Ramcota and Thier.
Here.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and it goes through where, as I was reading it, the changes they had in their articles and amendments that they had through that portion of it, and their revisions of the resolutions that they brought, basically giving more abilities for communities to use larger state and federal monies for them portions of it, so yeah, that's all part of that. It's a long conference. All right, if there's nothing else further from the board for Public Works then, and we get into that work session, then we will definitely all sit down with P&Z and us and Public Works and go through it. Anything further? If not, I'll move to item 11. Finance officer?
Yes, monthly financials are not ready yet for this month. I'm closing out the month. And the month bank vendor reconciliation will be ready by next meeting, as well as annual reports. Notary application is still pending. I'm still looking into it. I just didn't get the chance to get to it yet.
Okay,
Long distance call service. So currently we're with Lingo, and the only thing we're using them for is long distance calls, which we can get from Mount Rushmore Telephone, which we use already for regular phone and internet.
right.
So I was just thinking to transfer long distance calls to them as well, which would save us as well. So we'd need motion for that, of course.
Motion to,
And that saves us a little money, you say?
Yes, because Lingo cost almost doubled in the past year, which is almost $70 just for long call distances.
Oh, wow.
And Mount Rushmore it will be 50 flat rate.
Okay. I'll make that motion.
Kramer makes the motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Hendrickson, further discussion? Being none, all in favor say aye. Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Further,
I contacted Edward Jones Bank. We needed updated account holder names, so I just need the confirmation of Dan Holsworth, Linda Kramer, and Monica Service as account holders.
Yep.
We
You want a
need to make a
motion on that?
motion?
Yep. That way we got that all taken care of. And you make the motion?
Yep. I'll make the
Second.
motion.
Second.
By Schumacher, further discussion. Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
The same thing with as the FIT. We need to confirm the account holders, which is Dan Holsworth, Linda Kramer, and Monica Service.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Schumacher, second by Hendrickson, further discussion. Being none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Thank you. Anything further?
No, that's all.
How's it going?
It's going. We're working with all the transfers still with the program and everything, and with new payment system there were some issues with that we worked on and should be fixed as of today. So we're just doing our best here.
We talked today a little bit about, she's gonna try to get in touch with Ben, find out if it's coming on the audit. She had talked to several of the other finance officers that also use him and say he's a little bit slow getting to you and getting things done
Yeah.
so that they can close out their year ends and know where they're going, and so they're trying to work with that, put it together. So,
Yeah, we'll contact him this week and see where things are at.
no, I think other than that, yeah, I mean, like I told her, it's slow and we're saving 15 grand. Slow's okay.
Yeah.
Do we have deadlines that will be met, even if he's slow?
Yep,
Well, I call everyone that to adjust the deadlines when needed. So,
Main concern.
oh yeah.
I know.
No, that's why I brought it up to her when we were doing all our year-end stuff, is what we do, that we don't want anything coming back, because as we're well aware of, any of that stuff gets recorded in the audit, and then we've got it as far as a black mark against us from whenever and for however. A lot of them are never removed, so we
Whoever
don't wanna
needs,
go there.
whoever needs the results, we just update them because it's kind of out of our control when the results will be done. So all we can do is keep them updated.
They still got their deadlines that they can impose on us, so.
Yeah,
Um,
okay, thank you, yes.
If I remember correctly, we have had, the town office has had issues with the phones that we have had for quite some time, on and off. And I thought we had approved for them to order or buy a new set of phones. Yes.
Received them today.
Oh, good. Okay, thank you.
See, little things like that, just make them like it's Christmas all
Well,
over.
you know, it's been needed, you know? It was months ago, I was sure that it was approved to get it done, you know? And I know everybody's busy and finding the right
Well,
product.
and then we had all the computer stuff come in, and we had
Right.
all the DA&R stuff coming in, and we had, I mean, it's not like there weren't something to fill all them gaps. and-
Exactly,
Yeah,
yes.
well, Monica handles it.
So,
Well, thank you for that update.
Thank you.
anything further? Not, I'll move into old business then. Item A, of course, is the annexation, Gumbo Lily Fairgrounds Place, McDermott Street, approval to proceed with annexation. As I had stated earlier, I made a light report on that we had received some communications back. The majority at this point negative, but we also have some positives. We did have good communication with Mitch, that he says those that want to be, can be, because we do have contiguous property, basically Fairgrounds Place. And now that we've annexed going to North Water Sewer Line, that includes all of 79. So that makes everybody on 79 contiguous now too. So if the church wants to come in, or Pop Hatch, or any of those, we can also annex them at this presence and go from there, so. So that will come after the calls, and then that all fits into DA&R, and not, you know, put any pressure on you girls, but you
Yes.
know, you're kinda holding the train up.
Sure, you're not.
We've been a little busy.
Nobody wanted to deal with our phone calls at the holiday season.
Yeah.
We were taking care of the citizens by not doing that, you know?
Well, comment well taken. So anyway, that's where we're at. The town sign is pending. I don't know that we will go any forward. Bob and I tried to get on the school board's agenda clear back then, and they still have not ever invited us to come on to their agenda. So that's where we're at on that part of it. Deck staining and pending. We had that lengthy discussion with the library also. We're only leaving it on there to be a reminder. So we appreciate that. New business, fencing estimate, of course, has been left out only because of the commissioners portion of it, that we did turn that in. Asked for monies from them. If in their annual, they get over now, that they see what their budget's at, then they will, in the next couple meetings, decide distributions on that. And we, of course, asked the commissioners for possibly the meters, which is now 50 grand. The fencing, which was at the high bid, 45 grand. And then the lighting project, which was 25 grand. So them are the three items that we asked for, and that's why we've left this on there, only for a reminder of that and see what happens on that portion of it. The hazard mitigation, report from Joan. It's in the minutes of P&Z, but
No, that's, actually, we completed our meetings. I kind of typed up all my notes and everything that was discussed, but I don't know if you really want to take that much time. Several pages here. I'll just give you the highlights. The most important thing I did find out was on the weather alerts, FEMA will no longer allow or accept or approve grants for sirens. Their range is not enough, their cost is too high, and they're often ineffective, need a lot of repairs. What they do suggest is that every home and business has a NOAA weather radio for all hazards, and just like it scrolls across your TV, that radio would blare a signal to you or whatever, and then tell you what the problem was, the warning was issued for. So since, you know, we have everything on the west side with no sirens, I just thought everybody would want to know that you probably don't even want to try. And you certainly won't get it through a grant, because most of our grants, like BRIC or FEMA, all go through the state hazard mitigation and then to FEMA approval. So
might be a good idea to consider that in our next plat approval, as of what we've said in many of our meetings at these new developments, the impact fees that we want to apply so we don't affect our present citizens on further costs being raised, but possibly with that development that we could ask that that be a condition of approval of plat, that they put a siren out there.
but you need to be really sure you want to continue with sirens. I mean,
Yeah.
FEMA has some very good
Those
reasons for not
radios.
funding them. And even if they paid for the siren, there you are with the limitations and the repairs and whatnot.
Right.
And nowhere does it say, you know, that you are responsible for having a siren in your community. They're putting it more on the people and on the businesses to pay attention. Everybody's got a smartphone now, and it comes right on the phone,
Right.
you know, constantly, things like that. And we're probably gonna see it on that quicker than we're gonna hear a siren if we're inside the house anyway. I never hear that siren except in the summer, you know, inside my house, and I'm right in between two, so I think you would definitely want to consider if you even want to keep going down that path.
Good point.
Yeah, so other things that were discussed was wildland fires, summer storms, winter storms, flash floods, drought, tornado, all of those things, which we've discussed in the past also. The one thing I was rather, I don't know, happy or whatever, at the last meeting, Custer asked if they could have a copy of our emergency pamphlet so they could do one of their own. So that kind of made me feel good. I was happy that everybody seemed to think it was useful. Along with that, though, we need to probably expand on that by providing a formal emergency operations plan, which is basically what each one of you up there are going to have to do if we had another emergency. Naturally, you have your county plan, but you just fill in the blanks with what locally you can do also. That way you're not left out in the cold when they do come in. You know what your procedure is, you know what you are allowed to do, and each step of the way that they're going to follow. So that would be one of the next things we have to work on. Some of these things we'll have to have done before we can move on to our comp plan, because we would want that in the comp plan. The other emergency evacuation was discussed again in your subdivisions for your ingress and egress. And as the county said, they don't know of any new subdivisions that actually have two ways out. You know, eventually some of them do, as they move or loop to another. Ours do not. And it would be much nicer and much easier in the case of a fire or something if they did, but it's not something that can be imposed. And you know, you could put it in your ordinance and require it, I suppose, but it's there's very limited ways that you can do it on. Like, how would you do it in Hermosa Hills? I mean, until as they keep going, you'll have another way out eventually. And basically what they're saying is that's pretty much what you have to wait for, even though you would prefer for them to do it right off the bat.
Is that, excuse me, is that tied into number of occupants or just evacuation from that area?
Just evacuation from that subdivision. Yep. If they had to knock on doors and tell people to get out, you know, fire departments especially would just wish there was more than one route to send them because of congestion. And of course we discussed after the county hazard mitigation plan is adopted and accepted by the state and FEMA, will come back to us to adopt. And once we have adopted, then we will request Black Hills Legal Counsel to start grant writing for some generators for all our critical facilities. And of course, as Kaylee said, there are certain ones she knows can be approved, and certain ones that probably shouldn't even put it in there because it's not going to happen, or they're going to toss it aside and say we need to look at this one again later or whatever. So there again, we just have to kind of go with, see what she says at the time. And that's still, a few months down the road.
All right.
We definitely need to update our future use map. And we either need to adopt the county's fire ordinance or write our own, because just having a little ordinance that says you can shoot fireworks in certain hours is really not considered a good fire ordinance for a community our size. So that's just something to think about, which way you want to go on that, or if you want to do it at all. I think it needs to be done, but, you know. I looked through all the ordinances, I found no other fire ordinance except that little statement about fireworks, so.
Yeah, we'll have to look at what we have for the conditions of the application west of 79 and the fire districts that they're involved in. And the rules do apply here, and the only thing we never did is, actually, they wanted us to sign,
Yes, to adopt it,
and we didn't want to,
exactly.
you know. So we did look at it at one time to modify it to fit our site, but I don't think we ever went any farther with that.
And that's something else you could do, you could basically take their ordinance and make it fit your community.
Yeah,
But it's just something, and there again, another thing that should be done before the comp plan is updated.
yeah,
The other thing that was discussed was having some kind of an outreach program for emergency evacuation for people at risk, or that, you know, they can't get there by themselves. And that's something I guess we can check with the churches. They may already have one. We don't really know without asking.
right.
And they probably have more volunteers and no more people that have that need because of the other needs. They would have them same needs for other reasons, you know, to get around or get doctors, whatever.
Could that be like not an amendment, but an add-on to the plan so that we kind of know from the churches who that list is and be able to kind of keep that updated? That way at least we have an idea, and you know, addendum or whatever the term is, so that we'd have an idea, and even where we got the names from, if it was a certain church, that way we could go to that church to get an updated list, probably easier than trying to contact every person on there, or what additions may be coming in.
That's true, and at the very least, it should be in the plan.
Yeah, and I know some of them didn't want their information put out there, you know, that which made it difficult too because of the
Yes.
privacy side of it. So that's why we had one contact, pretty much each church with a backup,
Right.
is what we had in that aspect, is as far as we could ever get, because we wanted to do the lock boxes.
I'm thinking maybe what he means though is if we could even have a statement in our emergency plan that says you could contact this group, organization, or church to make sure that these people have been helped, that their outreach program is still in
Right.
place and they are still doing that. Even, I mean, I know they won't give out names probably, so you're right about that. We were very firm on that.
And I think we need, a lot of this would be great on another, probably P and Z and town board work session to
Yeah,
discuss
it's
a
good.
lot of these issues with what we need on, I was gonna say neighborhood watch, but for the future use map and the fire ordinance, and as far as what we need for the initiation for the rest of the emergency management.
Yeah, this is definitely all town stuff. Has to be
Yeah.
done through the boards.
Yeah,
And as far as information that I provided her with to look through to help her with her plan, county plan, all the ordinances online, she was able to get those. Those that weren't online, I had on my computer, so I sent her those, like the, and there was some on the website too, that I told her where to find, like street specifications, cable franchise, ADU, and then all the ones on American Legal Publishing, and then of course our zoning ordinance I sent her. Our extraterritorial agreement, all our policies, active transportation plan, emergency shelter pamphlet. Then along with that, to get a better sense of the flood we had and how she can incorporate that into it. She did have a lot of questions on that, so I answered what I could. Then I sent her the further engineering proposal along with Lisenby's PowerPoint presentation that he did for us. And then I sent her all the maps that we had, the flood, the sewer, the town, the zoning, the shelters, the subdivisions, everything that I could find. And also informed her that about Serenergy doing the aerial mapping that was sent to FEMA.
They were probably pretty blown away about all the information that we've had.
Yeah, she was, and she actually, naturally, she can't put it all in there, but it helped her understand more of where a flood was and how it happened. But yeah, and then after that, which I hadn't even thought about, she asked for pictures. So I sent her a ton of pictures and told her she could pick what she needed because I really wouldn't know.
It's on the website, huh? Just go to the flood.
Yeah.
All the pictures there.
And then, of course, Jill was able to pull up the last 5 years of building permits, and we put them in categories, whether they were stick-built, manufactured, commercial, government, others such as sheds, whatnot,
Wow.
and totaled those up. And that basically, I think that she's putting in not only our community, how for the growth, to show the growth or non-growth, either way, however it works out. But ours did show growth. I'll give you a quick totals just so you know what the growth was. In 2018, we had 6, and this is total of all of them. I'm not going to read each one. 19, we had 12. 2020, we had 18. 21, we had 16. So we were down to, in 22, we were down to 10. So we're not really sure exactly why, except in 21 is everything got so high. Some people maybe put it off thinking it would drop and it hasn't. I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say why. And that was about it, I think, except for the narrative that I had to write for. No, I'm not going to read that. I think that was pretty much covered everything we discussed and went over.
Yes.
I want to comment on the emergency management thing and, in this past storm that we had. And of course, everybody heard how there were people stuck on the highways and Wall had to open up churches and gymnasiums and Kadoka. And I had, people I talked to that have never had anything to do with emergency management. They don't understand. Oh, I wonder how they got that. Oh, the people of that town must have worked so hard to get that all put together. I said, yeah, months ago. And I explained to them that the towns all have emergency areas. The schools already have the cots of the water and, food and everything all stored up. And they have people to run it, and it's already all planned out. It's a program ran by the state and the federal government and blah blah blah, and hardly anybody knows that.
Isn't that strange?
And
we need to educate them.
Yeah, it was an educating thing. And then on the other side of the coin, just to let you know, I know y'all also heard about the problems and how much snow was on the reservation and not being able to be moved and even tomorrow the state is sending, just from our office that does our highway out here, is sending I think 3 guys down to the reservation to help plow out driveways and whatnot, and just I just think people need to be more aware of it. So last time, when the guys were sent down to plow out driveways, they told them to pack a bag, that they'd be staying at the casino, and that was all fine. I don't know, I can't remember how many guys actually volunteered. Lon did not. Somebody had to be here to keep the roads in shape too, so he stayed here to do that, and some of the other guys volunteered and went down. But if any of you have driven through some of that country, where we have, you know, our streets and our driveways are, what, 20 feet long or whatever they are, their driveways down there are quite often a quarter mile long. And so the emergency management team gave the guys a list and the addresses of people that needed to be plowed out. And so they pulled up to this one home, not to the home, but to the driveway. And here again, it was one of those quarter mile, you know, driveways. And here's a woman and her 2 children, approximately 10 and 12, and they're shoveling away, and they're shoveling away. And they're 3/4 of the way down their driveway already. And the guys stop and help her. And then when they're done helping her, they said, "May, you've worked hard." And she said, "Well, of course. You know, my kids and I have been out here every day in the snow. You got to keep up with it. You got to keep pushing it. You know, get it out of the way." And so they said, "Well, you've done a good job." And she said, "Thank you," and all that. And so then they went down their list. And they said, "Okay, where do you know where this house is?" And she says, "Yeah, that one right over there. You're not really going to help them, are you?" and they said, "Well, they're on our list. We have to help them. They have 7 adult children living in that house, and they haven't even gotten out a snow shovel, haven't even been out their door yet. And we've done almost our whole driveway. Nobody can even help themselves anymore down here." And she stomped off and was all pissy. So, just wanted to tell you that some of the things that the people that you don't even know are working, what they go through. The 3 guys that did get sent down there that were staying at the casino got snowed in at the casino, and they couldn't get out.
Really?
And the group, the employees that actually work in that area, stayed home because it was just too much work, and so they stayed home. So our guys, 2 more of our guys, had to go down with our equipment and plow out our guys that were down there to help the guys down there that won't work. So just some information that most people don't know I wanted to share with you.
Did lumber ever, or logs ever, or firewood ever get hauled down there during that storm?
Firewood has been hauled down. The governor actually put that into
Come out of the
place.
forest?
Um,
Slag piles or something?
That's what we think. We didn't actually ever hear where the wood was getting brought
Is that
from.
out of the National Guard hauling it?
Yeah, the National Guard was hauling that. And that was another thing that, I don't know, maybe you've seen that on the news, how one gentleman that actually lived down there said, you know, we used to prepare for winters. We don't do it, the men don't do it anymore. And so now your National Guard and your tax dollars are handling that because they won't do it themselves. And it's kind of a 6 of one, half a dozen of the other situation, you know. I mean, I know if I want to stay warm, I can't count on the National Guard to bring me wood, in other words. But that's what's happening with some of your tax dollars. And I just wanted to spread the word a little.
Thank you. Joan, you're done?
I am, thank you.
Well, I thank you for all your hard work. I think we need to, I don't think anybody realizes how much time you're spending on this and what we're putting together and how much helpfulness it will be for our community as well as our emergency management plan. And when you feel we need that work session, whether it's next P&Z then we need to just bring that awareness to it. I know we need to do some more on work sessions anyway on other items that we have to discuss, so it's something when we get to that stage,
Sure.
keep it stated. I want to thank, also, we'll have information, Mr. Ferguson was good enough to be here this week, or last week, I'm sorry, about GenPro. And going around with all of the generators on the 2 wells, the lift stations, and office here, to get costs on them so that if we have the abilities for grant monies, anything else out there, that we may be able to apply for them too, so.
And they are writing up a proposal and they'll get it to
Not
us
yet,
then?
no. First, the county hazard mitigation plan has to be completed and accepted. Then the town of Hermosa has to adopt it, and then you can write the grants. But first, you have to adopt the plan
Yeah.
after it's accepted. So like I say, it's a few months yet, you know. She had a deadline of December 31st, which actually would be, I guess, yesterday, because of course government offices were closed, that it had to be in end of the day in their office for review, which is just, you know, subject to change. It's just the draft. So that'll take a few weeks, she said, and then she'll get with us again when it gets a little farther down the road. And then, of course, as soon as she sends that, she will send us a copy also, email us a copy, so we can review and see if there are any discrepancies, any changes we need to make, you know, mistakes, whatever.
Okay. Thank you. Item C is that South Dakota PFAS cost recovery program. Do we have any more?
We filled it out, signed it, sent it out, no answer yet.
Okay, so that'll just be pending. Anything further under new business? If not, we'll move forward to number 14, items from citizens. This, of course, is no action will be taken, 3-minute time limit per speaker. Meetings of the Board of Trustees are open to the public. The audience may be allowed to comment on specific agenda items during the time allotted on the agenda for those items, according to established procedures of the board. This is a time for members of the public to express concerns or discuss issues having relevance to the town. Anyone wishing to address the town board during this time shall be asked to identify themselves. The number of presentations and time allotted to individuals may be limited by the board president, and individuals shall refrain from discussing personalities. The president at his discretion may recognize patrons at other times during the board meeting. No action will be taken by the board on any issue related without being first placed on a future agenda by the board to allow the proper notice. Any citizen input? Yes, ma'am.
I was just giving some thought to and I'm not sure how many we have right now, computers in the closet. Whether or not the board would like to take some classes in it and make use of them. Our electronics change so fast that it's going to be useless in no time. They're constantly changing and updating. If we might think about maybe loaning them, a few of them, whatever, maybe to the library, like you did the lights for the law enforcement. I'm not saying give them away, just loaning them. Anyways, no question really, I just wanted to bring it up and give everyone time to think about it. Maybe there's other options too. But one way or the other, they really should be being used before they're outdated.
True.
Thank you. Anybody else? Yes, sir.
I just think I need to apologize to the town board. I had a vehicle sitting out there at the shop for sale that belonged to another person. And as I understand, that probably shouldn't have been there. So it's moved, it's gone. And as far as, just to let you know, if I do any work over there, I'm either around my stuff, you just seen vehicles come and go, or friends' vehicles, but there's no cash, no money, it's favor trading is what it is. So it's still within what I think the lease pretty much said, it's not a business, I'm not doing work for other people for money or gain like that. And that vehicle sitting out there with somebody else's, but I thought it was okay to park it there, and apparently it's not, so. I hope things are still okay, I just wanted to apologize for doing that, but it's moved now. So.
Appreciate that, and in the lease agreement, it does state that anything as far as the vehicles being left unattended on premises is basically where that application is at present. And I think otherwise, I mean, what you do inside your building is your business with the lease and its presence right
But
now.
I know you can't have a business per se in there, a gainful business, correct? I think I remember that, and so.
It doesn't state that in the lease. You know, if you do a service, the main thing is that, you know, the right to park city vehicles and stuff was brought into it at one point.
Yeah.
If we needed that application when we did the lease originally, but otherwise, I mean, as long as you don't have the vehicles, you know, a mechanic
Yeah.
shop sitting out there and you bring a vehicle in, you do some work, and you need the ability to help pay your rent. The abilities are your abilities, and I mean, we've got to appreciate your portion of it too, and that we have in here the quiet portion of it, that basically you have your rights also as a tenant in that portion of it. Things will be reviewed, I feel, on this as we go to the next lease approval period, where things are gonna be changed, I feel, in this and adjusted, and you'll have the opportunity to regulate what you feel as well as the board, so.
Okay.
So, them opportunities will be taken at that, but we appreciate what you said, and
Okay.
where you're at and your positioning on that. Is there any further comment? Anything further? Okay, trustee input, Hendrickson,
None?
Schumacher,
Good meeting.
Kramer.
I haven't said Happy New Year to most everybody. Happy New Year. I hope you had a great holidays, everyone. And Monica, I was wondering if you could get us Custer County Commissioners meeting schedule for the year of '23, so that we can have that available. And also, it's kind of nice having the calendars up here.
That's old one.
I know. And so if anybody has any extra
I have some.
calendars,
Bring some in.
thank you. That would be really nice. There's no sense in buying them because so many
It's
people do
outdated.
give them away that,
I've
But
probably
they're
got
handy to
3 or
have
4
here.
at home, so.
I'm not sure if Jill ordered some or not. She was
Okay.
ordering some calendars.
so
I'm not
there are
sure.
some that are needed for town business, yes. But, all right, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you, and I likewise wanted to say thank you and Happy New Year to everybody. We do have a commissioners meeting tomorrow, so I was hoping you might be free or not. That's going to be, of course, every one of them are important now, and I know there's been much discussion on these as far as, I think the biggest, hottest item that's facing them, it got pretty heated at the last one, was of course the French Creek item. And as far as the city of Custer dumping their treated lagoon water into French Creek and taking it away from Flynn Creek, and notifications that were brought to the 100 residents along there was very poor. And I'll get with you in a minute, Brad, so you'll be able to relax, but
Arm down?
but it's a matter where there was some pretty hot and heated discussions, and it was the city of Custer that done it, and the people are asking the Custer County Commissioners to get involved in the circumstances on that, and there's really nothing the county can do. It's a city treatment facility, a city-run sewer line. So basically all that was stated is that they're going to need to find legal counsel and approach it from that situation and go from there. I brought up our situation as I do a report every meeting with them about our lagoon extension, our lagoon expansion project, and what we're in as far as the design process now, the WRT. We still appreciate them giving us the $500,000 for the WRT process to save our citizens the monies from impact fees on that part of it. So I constantly remind them of that, as well as I constantly remind them that we need more money and have other projects. So if they find it in their hearts that we appreciate that portion of it too, and working with them as a team and trying to keep everything together. And that's about as far as I go on that aspect of it. And what they do, the library was very appreciative. They put a couple new members on, one of them being Leo Van Sambik, the other member I didn't know. So they are moving forward. They have many plans for them. They are appreciative of what we've done for them and where we're at with that portion of it and the support we've given them. So that part's big. Mr. Lentz is going to have some big duties. He's going basically to the Game Fish and Parks Commission and feels that they should be paying taxes to Custer County for all the revenues that they bring in all year long with tourism over there, and they don't contribute yet. Push hard on our infrastructures and our different utilities that we have in the area. So he's going to be working on that portion of it and see what we do and what comes up with on that part of it. So with that being said, I thank everybody tonight. We will go into a short executive session. Mr. Westergaard, you had a question?
Oh, I wanted to thank you for the controversial Christmas lights again this year.
No.
You know, I mean, to some people they don't like it, it doesn't matter, but I think it's pretty neat to come home to that or come back to town to that at nighttime. So, thanks for doing that.
We appreciate that, and we had a good night. It was unfortunate with the weather and the tackles and what we had this year. The Shriners usually try to come down before Christmas, and then that's of course who we give the benefits to is the Shriners Children's Traveling Fund for transporting the children that need to go to hospitals. And we said if they don't keep it local, that we won't contribute to them. And I believe last year we raised $2,022, and then we match whatever we raise. So we gave them $4,044 last year for that traveling fund. So
This year had to hurt it with the weather then.
yeah, it really has. So, but we appreciated them coming down and having a caravan. So, but I thank you for that. There's a lot of work goes into it. So.
I don't know what the controversial part of it is, but I also really enjoy your Christmas lights. And every time I go in or out of town, I drive by before I pull in or out of my driveway, except for when I get called. I said every time I go. I didn't say, you're right, I didn't get out of my house one day when I was supposed to. But
No, you didn't. Oh,
Yeah,
I don't feel
we
like
were
it.
pretty
it was
disappointed.
cold, it was cold. I
We
know,
were
I'm
dressed
whining.
up in, I was dressed up in the big red suit, and we had the Grinch and all the elves and
Hot chocolate.
all of that out there, and hot chocolate and the candy canes, which,
I called.
Yes, she called. Yeah, it's my fault. I said, I don't wanna go. I don't wanna go out of my house.
My son enjoyed the big cookies.
Cookies.
but I have to give a big thanks to the grandkids and the family, because in them 2 nights we gave out 400 cups of hot chocolate, 300 candy bags, and 200 candy canes in 2 days.
Well, if you didn't have a family with
Busy.
8,000 people in it,
So,
That's awesome, you guys.
Family drank all
All right, with that, I need a motion to go into executive session, and, Ms. Harris, did you wanna stay for executive session? Did you have concerns, or? Okay, I would allow that. And, with that being said, motion to go in at 7:46.
So moved.
Second.
Schumacher makes that motion, Henderson seconds the motion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Do we need to take a couple break for anybody to
Well, let's get
stretch?
everything. Let's just make sure and turn off the machine.